just one of the times Scott randomly was like, hey, Nick, do you know how to get a business loan? And then I was like, for what? And he's like, I want to start like a nursing home or a assisted living. I was like, you do? I want to start an assisted living.
My dad, towards the end of his life, he got discharged from the hospital and got put in a skilled nursing facility. And my brother, I had to go back to Vegas. My brother was in California. He was telling me like, my dad would call, they wouldn't answer. He died 3 days later, but still just knowing that he wasn't being tended to, I guess, it made me want to do something about it.
That was the spark.
Yeah.
I remember not wanting to sell to like just an investor, someone who's never been in the business. When we found out their why, and it was the same why as us, it was a really easy decision to make.
I know that Vegas Home Adventure is going to excel, and we just got to, go all in on that, because that's what God wants us to do. Before it was through residential assisted living, like cater to the senior community, but now he wants us to help families. What's going on, everyone? It's your girl, Gina.
And Scott.
And we're with the Dream Big, Sweet Living podcast. And I'm super excited because we have a special guest, Nick Prorock, which is Scott's BFF, and BFF is Business Friend Forever. And we're going to be talking about our residential assisted living that we just sold. What's up, guys? What's up, Nick?
Not much. Hanging out.
Yeah. So let's talk about, how you guys met and how you guys got into business.
Want to start it off?
So I'm not sure of the exact details, but it was through church. I remember the pastor wanted you to film him do a tithing testimony, and I don't know, there was some similar interest, I think you guys found out.
Yeah, I remember I asked you what's your interest, and I picked the one that was the same interest as us, which was shooting. So I remember, do you guys remember that? We went out shooting, and like I made like this badass video of thing, and then I realized, oh shit, we can't have a shooting video at church.
Yeah.
It kind of looked like a rap video or something.
Yeah.
Of us shooting.
Yeah, but so because of that, that's how your guys' bromance started off.
I think we just figured out we had a lot of same similarities, same interest, and that's how it kind of started. I guess we look alike. That's what everybody tells us.
So how did you guys, why a residential assisted living? Like, how did that come to fruition for you guys? Because that's a huge business to get into. It's not easy, so how did that happen?
We both have our own reasons. For me, it was my dad towards the end of his life. I didn't know he got discharged from the hospital and he got put in a skilled nursing facility. So and my brother, I had to go back to Vegas. My brother was in California. He was telling me like my dad would call, they wouldn't answer. And he died 3 days later, but still just knowing that he wasn't being tended to, I guess, it kind of made me mad. It made me want to do something about it. So that's my reason.
Okay, and what about you, Nick?
Yeah, I wanted to start it because my grandma and grandpa lived with us our whole life and, helped raise us and really took care of us. But as my grandma got older, she had Alzheimer's and dementia. So slowly we had to take more and more care of her. And then it came to the point where nobody could leave the house. She needed 24/7 care. And then all the way till she was completely bedridden, and we would feed her, and breakfast would take an hour. But through that long 7 years of her decline through the disease, it put a lot of stress on our family because we all had full-time jobs. We were all going to school. So it was like, who's going to stay home and watch grandma? Who can do this? Who can take grandma and grandpa to the doctor's appointments? And when you take seniors to doctor appointments, even little things like that, it can take 3-4 hours of your day. So I saw the stress it put on a family, and I saw that when we had CNAs come over and take care of my grandma, some would do a great job, some would do a bad job, but when they did a bad job, her health would decline a lot faster. So I seen firsthand when you give someone really great care, you could add years to their life, their quality of life so much better, they're happier, the family's really happy. So when my grandma passed away, I said, you know what, I want to open a business like this. I want to give the best care and make the residents happy, and I want to hire people and find the right people for the job, pay them better than anybody in the city is paying them. And so I'll hire people and have employees. The resident will get great care, and then the family would be blessed because they'd have peace of mind to be like, hey, I met Nick. he's gonna take care of our mom like it's his mom or his grandma or his dad, and they can go home and be at peace to know that everything's gonna be good. And so that's why I wanted to do it.
That's awesome. So, how did you guys both start that conversation of even opening up a group home in Las Vegas? Because that's like the most interesting business to get into, because a lot of people say, you know, they think you're like people who get in this industry are they're either older, a lot older, or they're doctors or whatever. You know, I know, Scott, you're a nurse, but so that's a little bit of a background that you have in there. But how did that first business interest spark with you guys? Like, how did that conversation go?
I don't remember. Do you remember exactly?
I remember because I got super excited.
Nice.
So we were planning Financial Peace University
right.
for the church. And so that's when me and Scott were like, let's do a financial ministry for the church. That was both of our interests, and a ministry wanted to start. So while I was at your guys' house, we were planning the whole thing, and like we just met each other pretty much. And just one of the times, Scott randomly was like, hey, Nick, do you know how to get a business loan? And then I was like, for what? And he's like, I want to start like a nursing home or a assisted living. I was like, you do? I want to start an assisted living. And then since then, we just started looking. And then we were going to all these assisted livings and like touring them. And that's like that was the spark.
Yeah. Oh, and then you guys also went to Gene Guarino's conference, right?
Yeah. But that was after we like decided we are going to do it. We just wanted more information on.
Yeah, we already had a property and set up with sprinkler systems and everything. So we already knew we were going to do it, but it was nice.
And do you guys remember how you guys introduced each other? Wasn't it like you were introducing him as your partner?
I was taking him. We were going around this huge conference and like meeting everybody. We're like, hey, I'm Nick. This is my partner, Scott.
I would say like business partner.
Yeah.
But that's so funny.
I didn't catch on to like the next day. And I was like, damn it, I spent like this whole day. I met like 50 people.
Yeah.
And that's what everyone, Scott's my partner.
They're probably like, oh, dang.
Yeah.
No, that's funny though. But so you guys got your first home. How was that journey? How did you guys find that house?
I actually just looking through the MLS, I saw a house that looked kind of funny because it didn't have a garage, but it had like this fire hose connection. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to look at that. And it just happened to be the previous owner had a partnership. Their partnership didn't work out, but they did all the construction or setting it up, getting it like compliant, step-in showers, sprinklers, all that good stuff. And we put an offer in on it. And that's how it kind of came to be.
Nice. And so with that, you guys started pretty much from the ground up with the licensing, right? Can you explain the licensing process and how long that took? If anyone wanted to get into this industry, I want to be able to share like how hard and challenging it was.
Well, for Nevada, we probably could have got it done in 6 months, but it took us more like a year because when we purchased a property, we decided to rent it out by the room. And it wasn't, I mean, that's not like necessarily a bad thing, but you need to screen your people or you're going to end up with a lot of problems and stress.
Yeah. So you guys were doing it rent by the room it's called independent living. Can you explain what independent living is?
That's more so of people who don't need assistance. They can wash their dishes, cook their food, don't need people to like tend to them. But that's pretty much independent living. If they need any kind of assistance, they're not supposed to be there.
Okay. And, I forgot to ask you guys, how much did you guys purchase the house for?
$250 around there.
$275.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, $275. Okay. And this was back in 2018?
Yes.
Okay. And so during the licensing process, what was that like?
Just a bunch of waiting. We actually talked to some people and they recommended this. They call it administrators, someone who watches over basically all the files, residential files, employee files. He was an administrator and he basically helped us with the process and going through state because we didn't want to delay too much time. Because you got to submit all these things, background checks. You got to make sure the fire marshal passes the house and they want to do a survey of the house as well.
Okay. How did you guys get your first resident?
Our administrator gave us our first resident, which was awesome.
Okay.
And she was so great, and she lived really long and
Yeah.
surpassed all the doctors' expectations, even her own family.
Yeah.
And she was one of our happiest residents all the time. She was like one of the best. We all started calling her grandma,
Yeah.
and she became like our grandma for real. Like she was,
Yeah.
I loved her. I miss her.
I know, I do too. I really miss
Yeah.
her. It's crazy because that's what this industry is really hard because you get attached to the residents,
do.
you know. I think that was probably one of the hardest part was when the residents passed away. You were like dang, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And
You're
it,
close to their family.
yeah,
Too.
Especially the ones that like, that make it a long time because you're there with them day in, day out, and you
Yeah.
just build a bond with them.
And so the average lifespan for residents living in the home was usually around 2 years, right?
Yeah, typically about 2 years.
Yeah, so that's a long time for you guys to build a relationship and
Yeah.
get close to them. So I want to know what was challenging. What was like the most you guys had residents and like the challenges with staffing and all that. Share a little bit about that.
The most residents we ever had was, I believe, 8. And that was challenging because in a house of 8 people who need assistance, there's a lot going on. You got to do meds, breakfast, snack, meds, lunch, showers, all this stuff. And so it gets hectic. So you could be in the house running around. We give all of our residents, not every house does this, but we would give our residents call buttons. So the thing was dinging all day and like people were running around. But it was fun, and we were doing a really good thing. The hard part was not really that. The hard part was finding the people with the right heart. And that's one thing we always said was this is not a career, this is a calling. Because being a caregiver is such a hard job. It's not easy. And you need somebody with the right heart and a bunch of qualities. Like you can't teach in training them how to do the job. It just has to be who they are. And so that was the hard part, finding people who are compassionate, patient, caring. So staffing, I felt like for me was the biggest challenge.
Yeah, and just being able to retain the good ones, because going against some of those bigger facilities, they could pay like up to like $5+ more than us. So we would get people, they get some experience, they leave, and then we wouldn't get good people. We'd have to let them go because we want to make sure that our people were taken care of.
Yeah. What was the longest resident? How long did they live for? Or actually, because we just sold the care home, so there's a few of them that's going to live for a really long time. So what was the average resident? What was their rent like? And what did that include?
We had 4 single beds and then 2 rooms that were shared. So that was 8 total that we could have in the house. That's what we were licensed for. It started out $2,500 for a shared, and then $3,500 for a private. Towards the end, like 2023, it was about $5,000 for the private, and then 4 for shared. We were willing to negotiate with people. We know that's an expensive burden on a family.
Yeah.
So we would talk to them and just see what their situation was, and we'd work with people.
So let's talk about finances, because we had the memory care home for 5 years. I wanted to know, like, what was that like? The reason why it skated through. I want to talk about like the real raw, of finances. Like, okay, so we did take in 2 charity beds. So we had military that we took in. And then what was their pay like, and why did we do that? Because from a business perspective, a lot of people would turn them down right away because of the pay that they were paying,
I believe it was about $2,000
Yeah.
what we took, and that was for
2 veterans.
one was gonna lose his home and had absolutely nowhere to go. His family couldn't take care of him, and he had dementia, so he couldn't be by himself all day.
Yeah.
So situations like that we would take on.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like as a business, we wouldn't make any money.
Yeah.
Someone paying $2,000 a month, and we have all the food and employees and tons of payroll. We wouldn't make any money. We would maybe even lose a little bit of money for taking on a resident like that. But we were really trying to bless people. It wasn't about the money only.
Yeah, because I remember for throughout the years, there'd be months where we wouldn't even profit at all or make anything. Just pretty much the business just paid itself.
Break even,
So
yeah.
we'd break even. How did that happen where we ended up deciding to sell? Like, what was that like?
Well, the thing with like breaking even is we could hire, a lower paying person, but they wouldn't give the same care. So it was a balancing act, and we really wanted to find the right people. But as far as selling, we had no intent to
Yeah.
sell at all.
Yeah.
We were just running the business, doing what we did for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
And then in like May, I had random people calling me all the time, like, "Hey, Nick, I want to buy your business. Hey, Nick, would you sell or finance your business?" And so from like May to June, we had at least 6 LOIs, maybe a few more. And people came out of the woodworks. And in the 5 years of owning it, I probably had like 2 or 3 people call to try to buy it. But from May and June in 2023, I had so many people calling me. And then we just weren't even considering it. Started to kind of think about it, didn't market or list it at all. And we got this amazing offer. We went to talk with a business broker, and it was cash. So from the time we got that offer, and then 3 weeks later of having no intent to sell, we closed and we sold, and it was a pretty clean, smooth transaction. It was stressful though.
Yeah, that family came to us and they were super interested, but they backed out. So we're like, oh, if they're going to offer that, why don't we just put it on an MLS and see what happens?
Yeah.
But once that happened, that same family came back to us and they wanted to go through with the deal. So we did. We knew, or we felt that they were good people to take over from us. Some of those like letter of intents we got, it was just from random investors, and we didn't know, they had no experience in the business.
Yeah.
We didn't know how they were. They seemed like good people, but at the end of the day, you want to know your people, something you built was taken care of.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because those were our staff, those were our residents. And that was huge for us. I remember not wanting to sell to like just an investor, someone who's never been in the business, but they had the same heart as us. They had the same vision, and that was huge for us. And so when we found out their why, and it was the same why as us, it was a really easy decision to make. And I felt so much peace. Like, these are the right people to sell it to. They're going to carry on our mission and our heart and the spirit of the whole operation, you know?
Okay, that's amazing. I want to know, like, what's next?
We were still trying to do entrepreneurial stuff. We're deciding to like bring it all in and just focus on real estate. So we started a new company called Vegas Home Adventure, where we're going to be buying out here in Vegas, maybe other places in the future, but that's
What are you going to be doing? Like, when you say buy, what are you planning to do with Vegas Home Adventure?
Everything. So
Yeah.
we're looking for deals. We're wholesaling. We're looking for fix and flips. And we're looking for buy and hold. So we're kind of doing like
All.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're trying to be focused, but we're willing to do anything. And then with our buy and holds, we're kind of focusing more on creative finance
Yeah, that's good.
because that's, I don't know,
The market, the high
Yeah.
interest rates, so it's hard
it's
to
a
get
good
it.
strategy now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about?
As far as getting into it, you want to make sure that just do your research, make sure you pick the right area. I would say an up and coming or just a little bit nicer. And that way you can justify a little bit higher clientele, I guess. If you do want to take on the charity bed, it won't hurt you as much. And I'd also go for 10 rooms instead of 8. Max out what you can do.
Was one of the hardest things we've ever done. For me, it was
Yeah.
super stressful. I learned a ton about myself, my strengths, my weaknesses, where I need to grow. But overall, it was a great experience because for me, we hit all the things that we wanted to do, which was employ people, pay them well. We paid our manager the highest rate in Vegas. Which wasn't much, but it's a lot
It's a lot.
for what she's
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
No one else pays what we were paying, so that was what I wanted to do. Bless the residents, bless the families. So we set out with that mission and we did it. We did all of those things. So for me, it was tons of fun. But because I don't have any medical background, like I had to learn a whole new language in medical stuff. They
yeah.
use so many acronyms. And I was like, what's a BM? You know, I didn't know anything. I was like, a bowel movement? I'm like, I think that means she made poop. I'm like, yeah, she pooped. And it was just silly, you know.
Yeah.
But it was so fun, and that gave me a lot of confidence, though, to know that we could face all these obstacles. I mean, we literally felt our way through the dark with getting licensed, running the home. We never even like been in a group home before we opened one. I wasn't, you know. So it was just a great experience, though, overall,
Yeah.
you know. And I met you guys, and we became close, and we've done so much together too, you know, in our investing portfolio and
Yeah.
our faith, everything.
No, that's cool. I'm appreciative of you coming on and talking about the memory care home, and thank you again. I know that Vegas Home Adventure is going to excel, and we just gotta, you know, go all in on that, you know, because that's what God wants us to do. Just wants us to tackle the Vegas community through real estate, you know. Now, before it was through residential assisted living, like cater to the senior community, but now he wants us to help families through real estate. So I think that we have an awesome partnership, and we're grateful for you.
Yeah, thank you. Same here.
Well, this has been great, guys. I really appreciate you guys talking about the memory care home. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed today's podcast, like, subscribe, and share, and y'all know what to do. Peace.